You refuse to be objective about
anything.
That's
why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
Why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are
wrong. So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I don't. And can I just point this out to you? The president has a part in power, right?
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
President Biden's decision to pardon his son Hunter is facing bipartisan backlash. Even the Democrats are all over it. But what do you think?
It's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated, but I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl Mika, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because, once we have the Red Cup, we're about to spill some truth. And today I wanted to come on and talk about The View because they keep getting owned by their guests, okay? Their guests are literally dragging them because they understand that they're not delusional and they don't want to be Trump deranged along with them. They may not like Donald Trump, but some of them seem to not be as deranged, okay? So I did not do a reaction and I did not give my thoughts on The View yesterday, but I want to give them today, and I want to respond to The View's guest today. So first we'll go with Charlemagne, and then we'll get in today. All right, here we go.
Let me ask you this: like Trump's campaign ads for some, they're saying they were very effective, and in one in particular ad, he used a clip of you from the Breakfast Club saying, "quote Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners." You say that line was taken out of context. I know it was, but it went on to be.
How do you know it was? That's literally what Kamala said. So why is it taken out of context? You guys Charlemagne's a chameleon, so who knows, child? And he's a Kamala stan, all right? But it's not taken out of context. That's literally what she said. And Charlemagne was explaining that to the audience, literally what she said. Okay.
Become one of his most effective campaign ads. I'm also featured in one of his campaign ads.
You might have been 1 and 2.
Yeah. I was. He texted me and let me know that.
Yeah, he definitely texted you and told you because at the end of the day, what you said, Sonny, was supposed to be an alley-oop to you, girl, but she is just so not there, okay? For lack of a better term, she's just clueless, really. And when you threw her that alley-oop and you said, how are you, different from Joe Biden? She said, nothing comes to mind, girl.
That
context.
No. No, it wasn't. But what were you actually saying in the clip? And can you please explain that? And how does it make you feel that the campaign used you like that?
Well, it's never good to be taken out of context, but I was explaining to my listeners how effective I thought the actual ad was. Like, the ad was effective before I was in it. I was just sitting at home watching football and I saw it and I was like, whoa. And so I knew the immediate reaction was going to be, people are going to say, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that. So I was explaining.
You're absolutely right. Hell no, we don't want our tax dollars going to that. And we made that known by getting her up out of here. Come on. Who wants their tax dollars going to, 1, an inmate, okay? 2, an inmate who shouldn't really be doing anything, getting transgender surgeries to change to whatever sex they want to be? Like, the life of me, we waste money on stupid things. Like, why? And Kamala is for it. Like I said in my Newsom video, California, they're a special kind of weird. What the politicians there are just weird. And I know people from California. They're all not this weird. Why are the politicians this weird?
That to my listeners. So, it never feels good to be taken out of context. But what I didn't like the most was that they didn't do anything to combat it. Right. I would have ran the same ad and just said, Donald Trump, what is it? Donald Trump supports. What was it?
He was the one that was supporting tax.
Yes, Donald Trump supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. I would have ran the same ad because it was legislation under him as well. And you know what else I would have did if I was her campaign?
Hold on. The legislation was there before he got there. And Donald Trump just let the legislation rock because he had more, important things to worry about. But he didn't support it. I mean, I guess you can spin it, like politicians usually do, kind of omit certain things. But come on, Charlemagne, Donald Trump didn't support that. And I mean, hell, most Democrats don't support it. Like, come on.
Since Donald Trump used me, I would have used Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan said Donald Trump was a threat to democracy. Joe Rogan said he thought Donald Trump was, I think, unhinged was the quote.
Right.
You got to mix it up. You got to get dirty with these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to muddy the waters a little bit, cause confusion.
Yeah. Let me ask you something.
I mean, Joe Biden is already dirty. That's the word. He's dirty. Him and his son.
That's going around right now, a lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter.
Here they
and
go.
Repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if the other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy and they were saying that, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him, that's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, nobody's above the law, I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
Now, Charlemagne is on point with that one. Joe Biden did not believe nothing he was saying. Y'all didn't believe. When I say y'all, I'm talking about The View and other liberals, okay? Y'all didn't believe Joe Biden talking about, I'm going to ride with the law. No, he's not. His son is like a menace, okay? Between the laptop, the dealings in Ukraine, like it was... DOJ was about to take that man down. They were just using those two cases to, get him locked up. But let's be clear. They were going to use that to be able to spin off into that laptop, all right? Which they should, because the stuff that's on that laptop, I keep telling you, is disgusting. But at the end of the day, Joe Biden was going to pardon that man, because if not, he was definitely going to jail.
Wait.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Oh,
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed it.
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
Now, Whoopi. Whoop. You are a great actor, okay? One of my favorite lines is, Molly, you in danger, girl. From Ghost, okay? But let's be clear. Your politics are deranged. And I do mean deranged. Because at the end of the day, you know daggone well that Joe Biden didn't come up with that overnight. Okay? Joe Biden already knew what he was going to do. And they played on y'all's emotions and had y'all doubling back and doing backflips trying to figure out why he said that. And now y'all got to come back and eat crow because y'all made him this righteous man. Oh, he put his son up even though he's going to lose his son, yada, yada, yada. That man is like the rest of the crooked politicians, okay? Joe Biden been there for 95 years, all right? He like 275 at this point. And y'all know that Joe Biden has been crooked. He is racist, all of that, the above.
This is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that they're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground. Listen, they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. He don't have to do that.
So we're mad at him because he changed his.
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning Hunter Biden.
But you sound like you're
mad. No.
There she go with that old woman logic. And when you sound like, no, ma'am, listen to what he said. He said he didn't have to go out there and say that lie. He knew he was going to pardon his son. So he would have been better off saying nothing at all. And doing what politicians usually do, go around, spin it, all that good stuff. But he decided to speak on it and make himself seem, so much better. And just like Charlemagne said, they like to act like they're on a moral high ground when all the time he knew he was going to use his power to get his son off when he know his son shouldn't be off, right? Just because he gives his son a pardon and he loves his son does not mean his son is not a creep and a crook, okay? Because he's both of those things, really and truly.
I can get in on this. I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions and the impartiality of the Department of Justice. Yes, Democrats ran on that. The same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Can you explain to me why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls? He's wrong.
Who clutches their pearls for Joe Biden? Nobody thinks about Joe. Joe be tripping up steps. Joe be in another thing. All right. Joe be forgetting stuff. Joe, just the other day, sleep, narcoleptic. Who be thinking about Joe Biden and clutching pearls? Okay. Except when Joe Biden, you know what? I believe that low. No. Joe Biden be sniffing hair, okay? Be sniffing kids' hair, be sniffing women's hair. So that's when we clutch our pearls, because who does that? It's disgusting. It's nasty. It's creepy. Other than that, girl, don't nobody pay attention to Joe Biden. Stop.
Nobody has criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlemagne.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more. But you're missing my question. Okay. My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay.
You ain't never lied. Ain't nobody more delusional than Dallas Cowboy fans. Well, I'm a Redskins fan, so maybe I can't talk. But yeah, he's not lying. It's Democrats, because Democrats got out there and made him seem like he was the second coming of Jesus. He's going to put up his own son. See, this is how you do it. We follow the rule of the law, to turn around and not follow the rule of the law.
If you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about anything.
That's why I'm an independent.
Yes, but
I think that's the best way to go.
But that's not.
Since when is that woman an independent? She is, child. Okay. So she an independent today, Republican tomorrow. The View, a bunch of chameleons, a bunch of golden girl chameleons. Who knew?
It's not a monolith. We're not, Democrats are not a monolith.
Well, why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats are
wrong.
So you don't think Joe Biden is wrong?
No, I don't. Can I just point this out to you? The president has a pardon power, right?
They all have Trump derangement. Like, we're going to call it what it is. They have Trump derangement, and she can't separate her feelings from the facts. So even if he does something good, she won't say it.
Just very quickly, can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The president has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right? Yeah. And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power, to pardon his son. Now, is that a...
Okay, so because he feels that his son is on the enemies list because of what his son actually does, that makes it okay. And because he's his only surviving son, we should understand that a father's love, and we don't want him to be in jail so he can use his rightful political power to do what he wants. Man, we don't care about that. Why do we have to look at it differently than what it is? It is a man who sat up here and told the American people that he was going to do something. He didn't do it. He lied.
Or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because I'm not in
the moral high ground. Like, what's the faux outrage?
Get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it. We watch Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be objective and call it what it is?
All right, so you guys saw all that delusion that Whoopi had. You know, she damn near was about to child that Charlemagne had to kiss the ring. She could not take the pushback, and she could not take the fact that Charlemagne was really making her eat her food, okay? He absolutely explained why Democrats are not in power right now. They're deranged and delusional at this point. Okay, now here is the Democratic Senator John Fetterman. He is the Democratic Senator of Pennsylvania. And The View once again brings up Joe Biden in this pardon. They cannot let it go, but here we go.
Senator John Fetterman.
Okay, I have the first question.
You have the first question.
So, Senator, President Biden's decision to pardon his son Hunter is facing bipartisan backlash. Even the Democrats are all over it. But what do you think? Is this much ado about nothing? It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated. But I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now, is that?
Did you just say that on The View? Man, this is gonna be 2 days in a row that The View is getting owned. I mean, he said he calls it like it is. I've never, I've never supported, these Democrats, but some of them inch out, a little truth every now and then. I'm here for it. Let's see what Whoopi's face and Joy face look like.
And in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate. And I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases. And we cannot.
Did he just say in both cases a pardon is appropriate? That means he thought a pardon was appropriate not only for Hunter Biden, but for Donald Trump. The cameraman is not doing his job. I need to see Whoopi's face at this very moment. Where is the cameraman? Fire him.
Not allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things.
He's 100% correct. Right? All of this, in the life of me, right? There was a consensus of, trumped up charges on people, especially people of color, and, all of these cases that people get. And now all of a sudden, it's a convicted felon. Well, you're a convicted felon. You're a convicted felon. What happened to all that energy where, people didn't like when you're calling people convicted felons and second chances? He's exactly correct. Oh my God. He is so on point because this is the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party. That's what people don't like about the Democratic Party. They say one thing out their mouth, and then where it's coming out.
And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was clearly those politically motivated, and those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Let me ask you this, though. Since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful? And do you think there should also be some soul searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
At this point, Sonny is definitely Trump deranged times 50. The man just said earlier that he thought both of these cases were BS. What the is Sonny talking about? Like, you can hear her over there. Then she turns around and says this, like, Sonny, okay, like, please stop it. Get some help.
I haven't spent any of my time after the election freaking out or just, thinking about, here's where we are. And I would like to remind everybody that that's the way democracy works. I was warning people that before the election that, you have the risk. If Trump wins, then he's going to get the House. He's going to have the Senate. And now you have the Supreme Court with a strong conservative slant now, too. So here's we are. And for the next 2 years, Trump and the GOP is going to be able to drive this narrative. That's undeniable. That's a fact as well, too.
Senator Fetterman, I enjoyed you on Joe Rogan. I thought you had some really interesting insights on the election. And one of the things that you've discussed is how Democrats lost some gains that they needed to make with young men across the board. And you said that there was a perception that they could be condescending or insulting. Can you explain what you meant by that? And how do you think Democrats need to be talking to men in a way that perhaps they weren't this cycle?
It's become more and more difficult. It forces men to kind of choice, can I really remain a Democrat? And some of the kinds of the tone in those kinds of situations, it's undeniable. I've witnessed that over the last 8 years. And Trump has a really strong connection with a lot of these unions as well now, too. And it was very clear that we've lost a lot of that. That migration has already been well underway. And here we are now. And now whether it's bros or the manosphere and all these, clearly those are negative kinds of terms.
Men are tired of being told that just being masculine is some kind of a toxic thing. Meanwhile, you have women out here just being totally toxic. Okay. Like Whoopi, like Sonny, deranged, right? They can be toxic, but just your natural masculinity. Oh my God, it's too toxic. It's too toxic. That's why the Democratic Party lost. Tim Walz ain't making no better. Like, White Guys for Harris was the most beta thing I've ever seen in my life. Trust me.
Or you make them part of the problem, or it's all because of you and your fault, then of course they're going to find an alternative, and that's what they've done that. And I believe in having a conversation on anyone that's playing it straight. I'm delighted. I'm happy to be on your show or with Joe Rogan. I'm a fan of his as well too, or Bill Maher. All of these people. I think having a conversation with anyone that wants to play it straight. I think we should be talking to as many people as possible. And it's undeniable that Democrats have lost a lot with men. And I'm not sure where we're able to bring that back without a long-term kind of a strategy to re-engage them, because it's undeniable. There's been serious erosion.
Well, there have been social forces at work for many years. Women have advanced and a lot of guys have not.
Joy, women have advanced and a lot of guys have not. Women, okay, I am a woman, okay, and I work hard at what I do, all right? But let's be clear. In the corporate world, there is so much DEI. Oh, let's just hire a woman. Let's just put her here. A lot of women are put in these positions. Oh, we need a woman CEO. Let me put her here. We need a woman police chief. Let me put her here. Whether she's qualified or not. Okay, that is how a lot of women got these positions. And this is the rhetoric that fuels men who just separate from women altogether. All right, you guys. So look, here's my thoughts. I reviewed yesterday's for Charlemagne's and today with Senator Fetterman, okay, of Pennsylvania. And the it remains the same, okay? It remains the same. They all have Trump derangement to some degree, but none more than Sonny and Whoopi. All right. And at the end of the day, anybody who is a Democrat like Senator Fetterman and Charlemagne, they have to toe that line. They did this when Stephen A came on, and now they're doing it to these two. And for the life of me, they want people to agree on this part, and nobody agrees. Nobody agrees because we understand that this is a political move. This was to get his son off. Hell, it was to probably get him off too, because we know what's on that laptop. So at the end of the day, it's all political. The witch hunt y'all did on Donald Trump and those stupid charges, yeah, it's political, just like the senator just said. And they don't like when Democrats have the nerve to actually tell the truth. It doesn't fit the narrative. So you guys get down in the comments. Let me know, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought about, Charlemagne and him pushing back on Whoopi and then Whoopi trying to get him to kiss the ring. And then you got to look at, Senator Fetterman. He is the tell it like it is senator. And he told them, hey, the Democratic Party doesn't speak to men at all. And then you have Sonny, who got back up on that Trump derangement. And poor Joy. I feel so sorry for her husband. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about all of that. The view, the derangement. It's never going to end. But we'll be right here reacting to it. It's your girl, Mika, and I'm out. Peace.